Jeddah at night. This is Saudi Arabia, a modern bustling street full of life. This is the real Saudi Arabia.
هذا السوق حي جدا في الليل، أليس كذلك؟
نعم، بنفسها مميزة.
خلونا نشوف العروض الجديدة.
Imagine walking through a narrow street where ancient architecture surrounds you, warm golden lights glow from shop windows, and the air is filled with the sounds of conversations, footsteps, and the scent of traditional spices. You might think you are somewhere in North Africa, or perhaps a historic Mediterranean city. But no. You are standing in Jeddah, one of the most fascinating and surprising cities in Saudi Arabia. A place where history, culture, religion, and modern transformation collide in ways few people expect. Today, we explore a side of Jeddah that many travelers never see. The gateway to the holy cities. For centuries, Jeddah has been known as the gateway to Mecca. Millions of pilgrims pass through this city every year on their way to Mecca and Medina. Because of this, Jeddah became a melting pot of cultures. People from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East all passed through these streets. Many stayed. And slowly, the city developed a unique identity that feels different from anywhere else in Saudi Arabia. The historic heart, Al-Balad. The street you are seeing in this image is likely part of Al-Balad, the historic old town of Jeddah. Al-Balad is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most beautiful historic areas in the Middle East. Walking through Al-Balad feels like stepping back in time. The buildings here are hundreds of years old. They were built using coral stone taken from the nearby Red Sea. These stones kept the houses cool during the intense desert heat. The tall wooden balconies called rawashin allowed air to circulate through the homes while protecting privacy. This clever architecture made life possible in the harsh climate long before modern air conditioning. A living historic market. Look closely at the street in this image. You can see people walking, shopping, and exploring small stores on both sides. This is not just a historic site. It is a living market. For generations, traders here sold spices, perfumes, textiles, jewelry, and handmade goods. Even today, many of the shops still sell traditional products. You might find Arabian perfumes made from oud, hand-woven carpets, traditional clothing, dates and spices from across the region. Each shop tells a small story about the city's trading past. Because long ago, Jeddah was one of the most important trading ports of the Red Sea. Ships arrived here from India, Africa, and Southeast Asia, bringing goods, ideas, and cultures. A city of cultural diversity. Unlike many cities in the region, Jeddah has always been cosmopolitan. You can hear different languages spoken in the markets. Arabic, Urdu, Somali, Malay, Turkish, and many more. That is because families from across the Muslim world settled here over the centuries. This diversity created a culture that feels open, vibrant, and welcoming. It is one of the reasons many visitors say Jeddah feels different from what they expected in Saudi Arabia. Life in the streets. Look again at the image. You see families walking together. Women wearing traditional black abayas. Children exploring the shops. Tourists taking photos. This is everyday life in the historic district. The streets are designed with covered walkways that protect people from the intense sun. The columns and arches create shade, making it comfortable to walk even in hot weather. At night, the area becomes even more magical. Lights illuminate the historic buildings. Street vendors appear. Traditional music sometimes echoes through the narrow alleys. It becomes a place where history and modern life meet. The transformation of Jeddah. For a long time, many parts of Al-Balad were falling into decay. Old buildings were abandoned. Historic homes slowly crumbled. But recently, the Saudi government launched major restoration projects. Their goal is to preserve the historic heart of Jeddah while turning it into a major cultural destination. Today, many buildings are being restored. Historic houses are becoming museums, art galleries, cultural centers, boutique hotels. This transformation is part of Saudi Arabia's larger vision to open the country to tourism and share its history with the world. Food culture of Jeddah. No visit to Jeddah would be complete without experiencing its incredible food. Because of the city's international history, Jeddah cuisine is unique. You can find influences from Yemeni cooking, Turkish dishes, Indian spices, Indonesian flavors, African traditions. Some famous foods you might try include kabsa, Saudi Arabia's national rice dish, mutabak, a stuffed savory pancake popular in street markets, fresh seafood from the Red Sea, and of course, traditional Arabic coffee served with dates. Eating in the historic district feels like tasting the history of the entire region. Jeddah's modern side. While Al Balad shows the city's past, modern Jeddah shows its future. Just a short distance from these ancient streets are massive shopping malls, luxury hotels, modern skyscrapers, beach resorts along the Red Sea. The city's famous waterfront, known as the Jeddah Corniche, stretches for miles along the coast. Here you can see one of the world's tallest fountains, the King Fahd Fountain, shooting water hundreds of meters into the sky. This contrast between ancient markets and modern architecture makes Jeddah truly unique. Why Jeddah surprises visitors? Many people imagine Saudi Arabia as only deserts and modern cities. But places like Al Balad reveal a completely different story. A story of traders, travelers, pilgrims, and cultures blending together for over 1,000 years. When visitors walk through these streets for the first time, they often ask, "Is this really Saudi Arabia?" And the answer is yes. But it is a side of Saudi Arabia that most of the world has never seen. Final thoughts. Standing in these historic streets of Jeddah, you can feel the layers of history around you. Every building has witnessed centuries of change. Every market stall carries traditions passed down through generations. And every visitor becomes part of the continuing story of this remarkable city. Jeddah is not just a gateway to holy cities. It is a gateway to the past, the present, and the future of Saudi Arabia. When most people think about Saudi Arabia, they imagine vast deserts, endless dunes, and modern cities rising from the sand. But Jeddah tells a much more complex story. A story of oceans, trade routes, cultural exchange, and centuries of human movement. To truly understand Jeddah, you must look beyond the modern skyline and explore the layers of history hidden within its streets. And nowhere is that history more alive than in Al Balad. The soul of the old city. Al Balad is not just an old neighborhood. It is the soul of Jeddah. These streets have witnessed centuries of life. Merchants negotiating prices. Pilgrims arriving after long journeys. Families building homes that would last generations. The architecture here is unlike anywhere else in the region. Tall buildings made from coral stone rise above the narrow streets, some reaching 5 or 6 stories high. The wooden windows and balconies, known as rawashin, are masterpieces of traditional craftsmanship. Each one is hand-carved with intricate patterns. They allow air to flow into the homes while protecting families from the intense heat and providing privacy. Even today, when sunlight passes through these wooden screens, it creates beautiful patterns of light and shadow across the streets. The sound of the market. During the day, the markets of Al Balad are filled with energy. You hear merchants calling out to customers. You hear the clinking of cups as Arabic coffee is served. You hear the footsteps of travelers exploring the maze of narrow streets. For centuries, markets like this were the economic heart of the city. Goods from across the world arrived in Jeddah through the Red Sea. From there, they traveled inland to the rest of the Arabian Peninsula. Spices from India. Coffee from Yemen. Silk from Asia. gold and ivory from Africa. All of it passed through the markets of Jeddah. And because of that, the city became one of the most important trade hubs in the Middle East. The houses of wealthy merchants. If you explore deeper into Al Balad, you will find some of the most beautiful historic houses in Saudi Arabia. Many of them once belonged to wealthy merchant families who made fortunes through trade. One of the most famous is the Nazif House. This massive building once hosted kings, diplomats, and important visitors. Its rooms are large and airy, with tall ceilings designed to keep the house cool. Inside, you can see traditional furniture, historic photographs, and artifacts that tell the story of Jeddah's past. Walking through these halls feels like stepping into another era. The influence of pilgrimage. Jeddah's identity is deeply connected to pilgrimage. Every year, millions of Muslims travel through the city on their way to Mecca for the annual Hajj. For centuries, ships filled with pilgrims arrived at the port of Jeddah. Many of them spent days or weeks here before continuing their journey. This constant flow of travelers brought new cultures, languages, and traditions to the city. Over time, Jeddah became one of the most diverse cities in the region. Families with roots in Indonesia, India, Africa, and Turkey all became part of the city's cultural fabric. This diversity is still visible today in the food, music, and traditions of the city. A city facing the sea. Unlike many Saudi cities, Jeddah has always looked toward the sea. Its location along the Red Sea coast made it an important port for trade and travel. Today, the coastline has become one of the most beautiful parts of the city. The Jeddah Corniche stretches for kilometers along the sea. Here you will find parks, sculptures, beaches, and walking paths where locals come to relax. Families gather for picnics. Children play near the water. And fishermen cast their lines into the Red Sea as the sun sets over the horizon. One of the most spectacular sights here is the King Fahd Fountain. This fountain shoots water more than 300 meters into the air, making it the tallest fountain in the world. At night, powerful lights illuminate the water, creating an unforgettable view against the dark sky. Jeddah's artistic side. In recent years, Jeddah has also become a center for art and culture in Saudi Arabia. Art galleries, creative studios, and cultural festivals are appearing throughout the city. Many of them are located inside restored historic buildings in Al Balad. Artists are transforming these old spaces into modern cultural hubs. Here you might find photography exhibitions, calligraphy displays, or contemporary art inspired by Saudi traditions. This blend of old architecture and modern creativity gives Jeddah a unique cultural energy. The future of Jeddah. Saudi Arabia is changing rapidly. Through ambitious development projects, the country is opening its doors to international tourism. Jeddah plays a major role in this transformation. New hotels, entertainment districts, and cultural attractions are being built across the city. At the same time, great care is being taken to preserve historic areas like Al Balad. The goal is to protect the city's heritage while welcoming visitors from around the world. In many ways, Jeddah represents the bridge between Saudi Arabia's past and its future. Final reflection. If you walk through the streets of Jeddah, you will discover a city full of contrasts. Ancient markets and modern skyscrapers. Traditional culture and global influences. Historic homes and futuristic developments. All of these elements come together to create a city that is truly unique in Saudi Arabia. And perhaps that is why so many visitors leave Jeddah with the same thought. They expected something completely different. But what they found was a city filled with history, beauty, and surprising stories waiting to be discovered.